My name is Clarence Bayne, and I've been involved with the Black Theatre Workshop for as long as it was conceived of and born, so to speak. The Black Theatre Workshop really is an outgrowth of a debate taking place in the mid-60s, coming out of the uh, American Black Power movement. That is the debate. And the whole set of movements taking place throughout the continent of Africa as they moved away from colonialism and was trying to decide exactly how black people should rule themselves. I was a student, a graduate student at McGill. There were about 60 or 70 black students from the Caribbean mainly and some from Africa that were at McGill at the time. And we used to gather together in what we call a drinking hole just off McGill Gates. And this whole big debate took place about culture and the representation of the culture of the diaspora. And essentially, that led to about four of us deciding that the Caribbean, and in particular Trinidad and Tobago, wasn't appropriately represented on campus as its culture in the McGill ghetto, so to speak, in terms of its culture. And I decided to write a constitution to set up the Trinidad and Tobago Association, and we decided that art and culture and the calypso and carnival culture had to be an important element of that. So we set about to create a committee called the Drama Committee as a part of that organization, and out of that came the Black Theatre Workshop. The artistic director that was available to us at the time was kind of what we might call a person of the diaspora. He did not want, he was originally from Trinidad, but he didn't want to work with a group of black artists who called themselves the Trinidad and Tobago Drama Committee. Not that he had anything against Trinidad and Tobago, but I think he was quite correct in his perspective at the time that we should include. It made sense because there weren't that many performers or people interested in the performing arts around. The black community, such as it existed then, was only about 6,000 persons, of which only 3 of them, that's the indigenous black community, were at the university. And we tended to be a sort of in-group. And within that in-group, there were only a few artists. So it made sense to draw upon our artists from wherever we could get them. So that was 2 reasons. One was very pragmatic, and the other one was still philosophical. In a time when black people were trying to establish themselves as a political and social force in the world, it didn't make sense to say that we had something called a Trinidad and Tobago drama group. So we called it Black Workshop. The first play that we produced publicly of professional nature is called How Now, Black Man. The whole, and so it was sponsored by the Trinidad and Tobago Association, but it was produced by the Black Workshop. And so that's how we came to have the name Black Theatre Workshop. We just added theatre into that concept. It was never absolutely quite clear as to why the workshop, except for the fact that when we first started, the idea was to take those things that were black, and what was black was still being determined in Canada, in Montreal, at McGill, and Sir George Williams University. So it was we had workshops which experimented with different aspects of black culture, whether it be from Trinidad or Jamaica, or it was from Africa. I think workshops suggest that we were experimenting with and determining what of the black culture that we would bring together to represent black people in Montreal. That has been quite controversial in many ways, because immediately we begin to clash with the term, those that determine culture in Canada and workshop to them suggested that we weren't quite there yet. And to us, it had no such meaning. And there were many suggestions to change the term from workshop because people didn't really want to go to pay money to see a workshop. And we just became very stubborn about it. We would not change the name Black, and we would not change the name Workshop.